Aloha, everybody, and welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Life After a Cult, the channel where we expose cult nonsense. We laugh at those absurdities, and hopefully we unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Aaron Kyro, you guys. Aaron Kyro. Aaron Kyro, the head of Scientology in San Francisco. This video came out. It is called How Scientology Destroyed a Popular Skateboarding Channel, and it's from Sunny V2. Let's take a look at a few clips and see what came of this.
Boarding paid his employees roughly $20 per hour.
We're basically minimum wage employees.
But donated over $1 million to the Church of Scientology. He'd gone to spend so much time with the strange organization that
Now, that is a photo from him when he was training at Flag in Clearwater. And we learned that Aaron Kyro told his people at Braille that he was going to business school. Business school. So is Scientology a religion, an applied religious philosophy, or is it business school? Which is it? Pick a lane. Here we get into the realm of where Scientologists are indoctrinated to believe that they have to give people acceptable truths, as it's called, or a short story. Because if he said the truth, I am going to Clearwater, which is the source of all things Scientology, to study under David Miscavige, my cult leader, and learn how exactly what are the steps to run my own business into the ground and a Scientology organization at the same time. He can't be saying that. So he's got to say, oh, I'm going to business school. I guess it was supposed to be for a couple months. Dude was gone for what was it? 2-3 years? I don't even remember. I don't. All right, let's listen to more of this.
Braille was neglected until it died completely, in what is quite possibly YouTube's strangest ever downfall. The channel's owned by Aaron Kyro, a pro skateboarder from San Francisco.
My name's Aaron Kyro, and I run this channel, Braille Skateboarding.
He started Braille Skateboarding just 12 days after YouTube's launch, uploading the clips that he'd used to gain his sponsors. But when a simple video titled How to Push on a Skateboard gained more views than every other upload, Aaron.
And it's interesting to see and learn where Aaron Kyro got his start, right? He started up in the early days of YouTube doing these how-to videos, which of course are still popular today. If you can do a how-to video on how to do this, how to do that. I learned so much on YouTube. I learned how to fix my shower by watching a YouTube video. All right, let's finish this up.
Kyro saw an opportunity. He'd upload how to ollie, then how to nose manual. This led to how to pop shove, and most notably how to kickflip, each gaining massive view counts for the early days of YouTube. Braille made tutorials on every possible trick.
So that is part of kind of like how he got his channel going. And he had a very large channel on YouTube. I think he still has a good following, but his numbers, things have been dropping because of his connection to Scientology. If there's not a more clear, Aaron Kyro, seriously. So take your life before Scientology or before going to Flag. Let's just say that. Before you went to Clearwater for your business school. It seemed like life was pretty good, right? You're expanding. Maybe the business was doing okay. I mean, we find out in these videos that it actually wasn't so much. But I'm telling you, it's because of Scientology. And this is what is so sad. Aaron Kyro had this niche on YouTube and did provide content and information that was helpful and brought people together in the skateboarding community. But when he started to inject his Scientology practices and way of running a business, it would appear, in my opinion, that it just started to fall apart. That it actually wasn't helping, but was actually making it worse. Let's take a look at this clip, which gets into his history with Scientology.
Between 2015 and 2017, Aaron Kyro did 16 Scientology courses, many of which were incredibly.
Now, these are not your little courses. This takes him all the way on to, I believe, operating Thetan level 7. And these L rundowns, I've told you guys, are ridiculously expensive.
The L10 rundown, for example, has an estimated cost of roughly $72,000, and this
$72,000. I want you to keep this in mind, these numbers, okay? This doesn't even take into account the straight donations that he made to Scientology that every good Scientologist is required to make.
This doesn't include the L11 and L12, both of which Aaron completed at the same time. Additionally, Aaron completed something called OT3, which
OT3, of course, where you learn about Xenu and the Body Thetans. That really does sound like a band name.
according to Reddit, the running tally to complete OT3 would be $278,000.
It actually can be cheaper depending on your situation, but not uncommon for it to get into the six figures when you get to that level.
Ignores that he eventually went up to OT6, presumably costing even more, yet Aaron believed that all of this was worth it. An article on his training wrote, L10 was a particularly revelatory experience for him. The gains and abilities are so high, I could not even dream they would be available. My space is so big and so clean, and my flows are wide open.
It has been interesting to me the way that Scientologists describe wins on these L rundowns. They're very vague. My space is so clean. My space is so big. I feel that way when I clean my bathroom. My space is so clean. It's not cluttered. It feels so much bigger. And you know what that cost me? Nothing. Some cleaning supplies, a little bit of elbow grease. I have since learned that many of the wins, and I'm saying that in air quotes in case you're in the car, were made up. It's just like these are things we could have gotten on our own or other self-help or maybe even other religion, even having coffee with a friend, right? You might have some realizations about your life. Yet Scientology charges hundreds of thousands of dollars to achieve these same states. Because think about what he's saying. What's he saying here, right? The gains and abilities are so high, I could not even dream they would be available. Okay, what are they, Aaron Kyro? What are your big wins here? My space is so big and so clean, and my flows are wide open. I got rid of masses that had been in my space for trillions of years. I truly uncovered my basic goodness and rightness as a being. So this is his big win, right? So trillions of years, that means he believes that he is an immortal being who has lived trillions of years. Fine, believe what you want. My issues with Scientology are the abusive practices. I don't care if you want to believe in reincarnation or you've lived for billions of years. Fine, we'll give that to you. But when you start talking about like $1 million that this guy gave to Scientology, yet didn't take care of his staff, his community of skateboarders who built this brand. These guys who did the brand deals within Braille were not getting that money. And we're going to look at a clip coming up of that. But let's finish this one.
Between 2015 and 2017, Aaron Kyro did 16 Scientology courses.
Now, you'll see it takes him up through operating Thetan level 6. That was in 2017. Operating Thetan level 6 is training to do operating Thetan level 7. And what is that? That's basically full-time. You are handling body Thetans, but you learn at that level that you're handling body Thetans, which are, of course, the souls of aliens from other planets that the galactic overlord Xenu brought to Earth, dropped in volcanoes, because there was a whole problem with overpopulation in the Galactic Federation. And the souls and the spirits of those people / aliens attach themselves to humans and are the cause of all our problems. Well, on operating Thetan level 7, you were getting rid of / freeing body Thetans that could be on the moon. They could be thousands of miles away from you. Earlier on Scientology's Bridge to Total Freedom, on operating level 3, you're doing the ones that are attached to you. And then you think you got rid of all of them. You're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I got rid of these pesky body Thetans. Oh, I'm doing so much better. And then you start your next operating Thetan level 4 and you find out you still have them. Then you do 5, you still have them. 6, 7, you still have them. Supposedly, you finally get rid of them and you're free from them when you finish operating Thetan level 7. This level costs huge money every 6 months. And this is what I think Aaron Kyro is still on, because I didn't see anything that showed that he finished it. Could be, but doesn't look like it. He has to go to Florida every 6 months for a security check to make sure he's not messing up doing the level, that he hasn't shared any confidential information. And that costs thousands of dollars to do. And then you're away from work, and then you're getting hit up for donos. So it is not cheap what he is doing. It is not cheap where he is at. And this is why I believe, because it seems like once he got onto that level, things really started to fall apart when it came to Braille. So think about it. This is something that Scientologists don't recognize. And I see it over and over again. The higher up they go, they think they're expanding in their space and they can do so much more. Yet the reality is, in their day-to-day life, their business is suffering, their relationships suffer. It's just not true. But they have invested by then $1 million, 100,000, 300,000, whatever it is. And you got to keep going, because surely my life-changing wins that will really make the difference and break open my life are just one body Satan away. So let's take a look at now. This is where Aaron Kyro downplays the cost of Scientology. Now that we've talked all about the cost, keep in mind, this is a guy on operating Thetan level 7, and he knows how much it costs, but listen to what he says.
Don't you need to give the church a certain amount of money each year to be a part, or
No,
you don't have to give them any money?
no. Courses cost a fee. So the communication course that I did was $100, and the books are like range from $25 to like $30.
But his extensive involvement was documented everywhere. He'd appear in yet another Scientology promo video for which he was heavily roasted in the comments beneath. But
Yes, that's when he did a video, there, I am a Scientologist. I am a Scientologist. Those videos he did, he got real roasted for doing that. That was kind of funny.
negative audience feedback didn't change his feeling.
Don't you need to give the
So he does that, right? Basically really comes out as a Scientologist, and it backfires. But does it change what he was doing at all? No, it doesn't. And that is a lot of the problem is in Scientology, they then convince you, because if he went back to Scientology and was like, ooh, I'm getting roasted for this. There, if you go in and you complain about the bad public relations, the bad press you're getting because you're a Scientologist, they're going to tell you, well, you are a potential trouble source. You need to pay for this course. You need to pay for this auditing. We need to find the suppressive person in your life. And you go on this witch hunt for the suppressive person in your life rather than trying to take some accountability. Maybe your business is failing because you're paying these guys doing all the work, only $20 an hour, who are doing the brand deals, making you the money that you're turning over to Scientology. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe people who put their passion, their time, their bodies in skateboarding on the line to promote your brand and build it deserve better than what you're giving them. Meanwhile, everything is going to Scientology. That is not recognized. And if he were to complain about that, he would be handled on that and reprogrammed into understanding that it's him. He is the source solely of the success for where he is so far. And though, of course, we all are ultimately responsible, right, for our success. We can take credit for our success, but we have people who help us get there. There's usually a team or people that you work with. And then the reverse can be true when things go wrong. But ultimately, he is the boss. And putting all his time and money into Scientology seems to keep creating the same result: destruction. You know how many guys have come out since and done videos about him and Scientology? I mean, honestly, I guess in a way, it's one of the best things to happen to educating people about Scientology. But Scientologists don't see that because they can't. If he has those thoughts like, ooh, could it be my Scientology beliefs and using Scientology that's trashing my life? Reprogramming, thousands of dollars. He cannot bring that up. It would be funny to see if he tried. Carla's loving wife says he is trying to turn them into his own Sea Org. Maybe he can call them Skate Org. That's true. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Says if he is a Scientologist, he needs to work his conditions. That's right. Scientology says there are these formulas that you can follow to get success. And yeah, just not doing it. Itchy Thetans, shame on you, Natalie, for suggesting Aaron Kyro pay his people better over the cult. I know Office of Special Affairs right now is probably like, oh, no, 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 no. We get a lot of money from Kyro, Natalie. Stay away from Kyro. Don't talk about Kyro. He was trained under David Miscavige in business school. Business school. I thought it was a church. Thought you were clergy, but now we're business school. Oh, Jamie Priestley says the skaters from Braille made a new channel called Da Boys, in which one of their first videos is like a podcast of them explaining their side of the cult of Scientology Braille story. Oh, I need to look that up. I think I have a clip. I think this video may use a clip from that. So let's look. Otherwise, I'm definitely going to look that up. I want to see that. Let's see, because these guys were all together. I wonder if this is the same one. Check it out.
In January 2020, Braille uploaded a video titled I Need Help, requesting that viewers donate to him to save his hometown skate park.
Now remember, 2020 would have been after he got onto operating Thetan level 7. If he did get onto it, which he should have, it's the very next step after finishing 6, which is just training to prepare you for that. Should be at the pinnacle of his career, massively successful.
Anything that you guys can give would be incredible. We're trying to raise $200,000. Anything that you can give would be so amazing.
This led to videos such as Aaron Kyro gives Scientology $750,000, but begs fans for donations, whilst people on Reddit wrote, maybe just funnel the massive donations made to Scientology rather than using your viewer base of children to recreate your park.
It really was amazing how at the time too, so many people did call that out, but he just continued. And this is the thing. This is the break with reality. When you are deep in Scientology, you have to see everything through the lens of L. Ron Hubbard. You have to have those blinders on. You can't listen to these people questioning, even though Scientology's own technology, which I say again in air quotes, using L. Ron Hubbard's technology, you would evaluate based off statistics. So if your business is in the toilet and you don't have any money, well, if you're actually following even what L. Ron Hubbard said, you would be taking a look at that and finding out what changed right before everything went in the gutter, and look at that. But he can't, because he would have to face the fact that it is Scientology itself, the use of Scientology, the practice of Scientology that is destroying his business.
Comments read, did he have this much money when they had Carlos sleeping in the warehouse like a homeless person, leading people to make a realization? I heard that most of the profits of Braille go to donations to Scientology instead of to the skaters that make it what it is. The skaters were running all the brand deals whilst barely being paid.
It's like, you want us to be the face saying, hey, buy this product, do this.
So this is a clip from Da Boys. This is the channel that that last commenter pointed out. So I want to go check this out too.
This thing, and then like we get
in January.
So because they were addition there, and again, how do you not, like 1 + 1 = 2? Things were slowly, not even so much slowly, falling apart and crumbling for Aaron Kyro, but he still doubled down on Scientology, doing the L rundowns, getting up to operating Thetan level 7, paying all that money, doing the donations, and then walking away from his business for an extended length of time to go do Scientology business school. It just does not make a lot of sense. Bina says, watch out, skateboarding may end up being a course, $10,000. Oh, that's true. Okay, let's look at this clip. So this one gets into kind of like when he did disappear to go do that Scientology training in Florida.
Working for someone, carrying the channel for $20 an hour. Then you hear that your boss donated $1 million to Scientology.
Think about that. Put yourself in those shoes. You are working with this company, with your boss, right? Your blood, sweat, tears. You were being injured at times. You're doing brand deals, but they weren't making the money from the brand deals. It was all going to Braille, who was then giving the money to Scientology, not taking care of these people. Can you imagine what that would feel like? Just as a person who thought, wow, like I'm here because I believe in what we're doing. I believe in this community of skateboarding, how it can change people's lives, how even, I mean, anything where kids can get into it and have a focus that isn't something that's going to get them in trouble is a good thing. And you learn a lot of skills, even learning that, right? How they would feel doing all these brand deals, not seeing any of the money. I was shocked to hear that part because I had just assumed that, they were getting a cut because that's what you do. Why would you do that? I just can't even imagine. Well, I can't imagine how that would make them feel.
In the process, Fetty and Carlos, two of Braille's most beloved members, left the team under sketchy circumstances.
Yes, sketchy circumstances of not being paid or taken care of or appreciating the worth of the people who helped this guy build this business.
Nigel also announced that he'd be leaving, but would still be in the videos, just not as an employee. He'd later explain the shocking reason for this.
I left because I was making more off of unemployment than I was filming full time.
With pay rises being few and far between.
How many raises did you get?
In 10 years, one.
But in case
10 years working for Aaron Kyro, 10 years, one raise. And that is very on brand. In Scientology, there's no raise. Staff members like Aaron Kyro are paid a percentage of what they make after most of the money goes to management. Then the staff members get a little bit of what's left, unless you can sell books and then you get a percentage. You can get a commission that way. Or if you refer people for service at Flag or other places, the organization can get a commission and then that is split amongst the staff. They are not paid a living wage. So on one hand, I'm like, well, all this time he has spent in Scientology and then becoming a staff member and not being paid a living wage, maybe that's where he got the idea. If he did Scientology training by L. Ron Hubbard would have over and over again said and indoctrinated him to believe that if they're not making any money, it is the problem of the staff. In Scientology, there's no investment into their staff or their people. They're not taken care of. Look at the Sea Org. Billion-year contracts, rice and beans, horrible living conditions, no health care, no free time, no self-care, no connection with family, no family. All of those things, right? If you are living for years and years, you're seeing the Sea Organization, of which he would have had exposure to every time he went to Clearwater to do services, that this is how it is, that working for $47 a week, if you're lucky, is how you treat people who work for you and are building your company or building Scientology. Of course, he might have that mindset that I don't need to pay these guys. I don't value them. And that is a piece of the puzzle that many don't recognize till you're further out of Scientology and you go, holy crap, I treated people horribly. I did not value them, because that's the indoctrination. If you started valuing people as a Scientologist, you might want to spend time with them like your family. And Scientology cannot be down with that. So they do everything in their power to make sure that does not happen.
Conditions couldn't get any worse for the skaters, they somehow still did. As in 2021, Aaron came to the team with another wild announcement.
He goes, in 1 week from now, I'm going to business school for 5 months and I'll be
Business school for 5 months. If I remember correctly, he was gone for like 2 years. That is how it goes. Any of my former Scientology friends in the chat can tell you. If Scientology tells you, oh, you know what, this service should just take you 2 weeks. I mean, plan on 2 months. That's kind of how it goes. There's nothing that staff members show up for. When they say 5 months, it could be 5 years. There are staff members, Scientology staff members, who train in Los Angeles or in Florida for literal years. And they're gone. They're gone from their life. They're gone from their families. He was gone from his business. I can't imagine they could even reach him. It's very difficult when you're in that training program because it's nonstop and you don't have access to the internet, or I don't know how they handle cell phones these days for out-of-org trainees. I'll have to ask my daughter. I'm pretty sure when she was there, she was not allowed to have a cell phone. In fact, yes, because we had to give it to another family member. And she was there before Aaron Kyro would have been there. But it is not conducive for running a business. Okay, Irina says, yes, if they can extend the time a course takes or just add up additional intensives. And intensives are blocks of auditing in Scientology. They're sold by 12.5-hour blocks. And guess what? You know who else does that? Nexium. Where you think Keith Raniere got the idea? Scientology, and probably some other ideas as well. So if you do that on top of it for repair and other nonsense, they will do it. Yeah, they will stretch it out. There's very little people in Scientology. So when you show up at a place like Flag, they're like, oh, my precious, stay with us, my precious. They don't want to let you go because there aren't that many people coming in. And they held on to this man for, again, I think it was like 2 years before he went back.
And then we're like, whoa, like what the?
As a result, Gabe became responsible for running Braille completely, as Aaron disappeared to focus on business school.
2 months passed. No one has talked to Aaron.
Imagine
Business school. Again, I love that that is being called out. Because again, Office of Special Affairs. Is it a business school in Florida at Flag, or is it a religion? Because you can't say both. And you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here. And I go back to what I said in the beginning. It was an acceptable truth. It was something he could tell his people. He couldn't go and be like, I'm going to be gone for 2 years. And honestly, I don't think he thought he would be gone for that long, because that's how it works. They lie to you to get you to show up for training, and then they hold on to you for as long as possible. My daughter was in Clearwater, Florida, training at the same place where Aaron Kyro was. And she ended up being used as free labor. And when she didn't sell enough books for Scientology, also not her job, not what she was there for, but they put her in a call center after hours. She would be on course from 8:39 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Then she got stuck in a call center with other Scientology staff members from all over the world, made to call Scientologists in different time zones, because if it's 10 p.m. in Florida, that's probably like the morning in Australia. She said they would just call other countries or call the West Coast, which I think is 3 hours earlier, to try and sell Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's books. And if they didn't make certain quotas, they were made to do manual labor. My daughter was forced to clean bathrooms. They were put on rice and beans. They were denied basic health care, basic things you need as a human being. Their actual rights as a human were being violated. And when you're in that mindset, you're being trained that way because you're there training to be a Scientology executive, a Scientology staff member. You start to get the idea that, oh, this is normal. Of course, I'm being punished. I should be punished because I didn't make my quota. That doesn't work in the real world. It doesn't. People, it's a job is a job. Maybe you don't get a bonus if you don't meet your quota, but I don't think that your employer's like, you know what? You put that tuna sandwich away. Rice and beans. Rice and beans. So of course, when he learned that that's how you treat people, it seems that that is how he was treating people in Braille. It is part of the Scientology culture that way. They think they know all of the things and that people don't have value or feelings, or they should be acknowledged in any way, shape, or form at all. Yeah, Swedish Andrea, disgusting. Absolutely. Victoria says, now every time someone tells me they're going to business school, I'm going to think they're training for Scientology. You should ask because, well, I mean, let's be honest, there's hardly anybody going to Scientology training. So it's unlikely, but you never know. I know someone who is a family member who is a Scientologist who is like goes to Clearwater and Los Angeles. They don't even know what that family member is doing. The family members back home are not Scientologists. They don't understand why they can't reach their family member. He's hard to get a hold of. I don't know why we can't reach him when he's in Clearwater, because when you're there, Scientology keeps you busy every waking moment of the day. If you're not getting Scientology auditing, if you're there for that, well, then you're doing training, you're doing courses. If you're not doing that, they want you to volunteer. If you're not doing that, like get on the phone and sell L. Ron Hubbard materials like they had my daughter doing. It is completely and utterly ridiculous. Jesse says, why don't they just say, I'm going to take a Scientology course? What's wrong with the truth? Exactly. Why not just say, my church, which a Scientologist would call it a church, I'm going to go do some training at my church because I'm going to be volunteering under a contract. And Aaron Kyro would have had to sign a 5-year contract in San Francisco to do the training he did in Clearwater, Florida. If Aaron Kyro leaves Scientology staff before the end of that 5 years, and the 5 years didn't start with the 2 years of training, it doesn't start till you get back. So you go and you train in Clearwater for 2 years. Then you come back and you got to put in 5 years on Scientology staff. And if you don't, Scientology will hand you a bill, a freeloader debt for the 2 years of training that you did. Now, you don't have to pay it. It's not legally enforceable. In fact, in most states, you're not allowed to charge people for training for their job. Yet what he did was all for his job. And that's what would happen. It's another reason that sometimes staff members find it hard to leave, even staff, because the freeloader debt. And even if they know it's not legally enforceable, it is tied into their standing within Scientology. They could be declared a suppressive person. They could be declared as a potential trouble source. And if you are a freeloader, labeled as a freeloader in Scientology, you're not in good standing. They look down on you until you pay off that freeloader debt. So it's one of many reasons. And let's be honest, based on what he said in closing down the skate park, and if he's auditing on operating Thetan level 7, this is not a man with a lot of resources. It's all going to Scientology. But at what point does he not recognize that and go, you know what? I'm done losing. It's like having a giant open cut and you're just bleeding all over the place. That's what ends up happening. The Free Wind is Scientology's ship. I went on it one time. It's not like a big cruise ship. It's small enough that you can get motion sickness on it. I did. What they have you do is Scientology puts out these courses. What do they call it? Competency and leadership. So you're going to come to the Free Winds. You're going to do the competency and leadership. They like to put teenagers on it because they want to recruit them for the Sea Org. Because ultimately, L. Ron Hubbard was like, the most competent people are Sea Org members. Competence is above everything. Being competent in Scientology, and this is something they teach you in the Sea Org, is senior to doing Scientology Bridge to Total Freedom actions. This is the scam of how Scientology gets away, because a lot of people say, well, Scientology, if you're so great, if you're making people so able, why don't you get your staff members up your bridge to total freedom? Why? Why you don't do that? If it makes them into these amazing beings. They don't. They don't, because it doesn't work. But what they tell the staff members who are not getting these services, who are working for no money, many people work for Scientology and it costs them money. They got to pay for daycare, right? And then they have to work a whole nother job. So what they tell them, the scam that L. Ron Hubbard came up with is that, well, you know what? Sea Org members, staff members, you're being trained to be competent. And competency is senior to Scientology auditing, what they call case gain. So like your wins in Scientology or making progress on that bridge, that being competent is senior to that. You're better off. So they're telling Scientology public to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for this bridge to total freedom, while telling their own staff members, no, we're training you to be competent. And that is actually better. That is part of the scam of how they keep you there. And somebody like Aaron Kyro now probably has a couple $100,000 in training. Maybe it's not that much. I don't remember what that would be. Close to it. I would say close to 100,000 that he would have to pay to be in good standing with Scientology if he were to leave. Now, what you're allowed to do outside of Scientology is make jokes about if you had to sit through a Scientology event, what excuse would you use to escape? Let me grab a couple of these. Miss Sunrise Dawn. Oh, I got to go. I have an appointment with my psychiatrist. James Steele, I have a really bad dose of the poops. Diarrhea always works. Swedish Andrea. What? Tom Cruise is not here? I'm out. You could say that about John Travolta too. Linda Lou says, oh, if I were at a Scientology event and I wanted to get out of it, I'd say, my parents are telepathically calling me. They want me to take their ashes for a walk. Susan Good Grandma says she would say, my collace effectiveness is reaching dynamic proportions. And if I remember correctly, that's like to help you be regular, right? Stasia says if she was at a Scientology event and needed to leave, she would say, the protesters outside gave me a copy of the upper training levels. What a load of nonsense. Here, let me read you some. It'd be like, have you heard about Xenu and the body thetans? If Scientology were honest, I swear that's the kind of stuff that they would actually say. Hit that like for me, everybody, and check your subscribe button and give it a smash if you are not yet subscribed. And you might want to look at that notification bell and set it to all so you get notifications for all the times that I go live and throw shade at Scientology. All right, everybody, I hope you get out and you have the most amazing cult-free day.